Welcome to Lotus Lane Daily. I'm glad you're here. Today's wisdom is for anyone going through something hard. You know that feeling when your teenager looks at you across the kitchen and you genuinely do not recognize the person standing there? The slammed door, the eye roll that lands like a slap, the flat whatever that follows every reasonable thing you say. You used to be the center of this child's world. They used to climb into your lap and tell you everything. Now you ask how their day was, and you get a grunt, if you get anything at all. And the worst part is the thought you can't say out loud, I don't think they like me anymore. I think they might actually hate me. If you searched for this in the dark after another fight, after lying awake replaying every word, this is for you. Not a lecture on discipline strategies, just some honesty about what is actually happening and what might help. The defiance is not what it looks like. Here is the first thing worth knowing, and it will not fix tonight, but it changes everything. A teenager pushing hard against you is doing a developmental job, not staging a personal attack. Their brain is, quite literally, rebuilding itself. The part that handles impulse, consequence, and emotional regulation is still under construction, and will be for years. The part that feels everything intensely is already fully online, so they feel like an adult and react like a much younger child, and they hate that gap in themselves as much as you hate watching it. Defiance is how a person tests whether they can become separate from you and still be loved. They push to find the edge. If the edge holds steady and the love holds steady, they slowly learn it is safe to grow up. That is the actual project under all the door slamming. It does not feel like love. It is underneath, a child checking that you will not crumble and will not abandon them while they figure out who they are. This does not make the cruelty acceptable. It does mean the cruelty is not the truth of how they feel about you. It is the noise of a hard internal process. Why winning every fight is losing. When your teenager defies you, the instinct is to clamp down. More rules, more consequences, more proof that you are still in charge. Sometimes that is needed. But if every interaction becomes a contest you must win, you will win the argument and lose the relationship. And the relationship is the only thing that will still matter in 5 years. Think about which battles actually count. A messy room is not a moral emergency. A rude tone at the end of an exhausting day is not the same as a real safety issue. If you fight everything with equal force, your teenager learns that your reactions are not connected to how serious something is, so they stop listening to the volume entirely. Save your firmness for the things that genuinely matter. Safety, basic respect that goes both ways. Honesty. Let the small things be small. There is a line from a collection of philosophical writings that I keep coming back to here. The true hero is one who conquers his own anger and hatred. In the moment your teenager is sneering at you, the heroic act is not the perfect comeback. It is the breath you take before you answer. The parent who can stay regulated when their child cannot is the one teaching by example the exact skill the teenager is missing. What is underneath their anger? Defiant teenagers are very rarely just angry. Anger is the outer layer because anger feels powerful, and most teenagers feel anything but powerful. Underneath, there is usually fear, shame, loneliness, or a sense of not being good enough. They are comparing themselves to everyone constantly. They are managing a social world that is more brutal and more public than the one you grew up in. They may be hiding something they are ashamed of. When you can get curious about what the anger is covering, the whole dynamic shifts. Not curious out loud in an interrogating way, which they will detect and resist, just curious in your own mind. Instead of, why are you being so disrespectful? Try carrying the question, what is making my child feel so unsafe that this is how it comes out? You do not have to solve it. Just holding that question changes your face, your tone, the temperature of the room. Things that actually help. Lower the stakes of ordinary moments. Connection with a teenager rarely happens in a big sit-down talk. It happens sideways, in the car, late at night, doing a chore together, watching something they like even if you do not. Make yourself available in low-pressure ways and say very little. Teenagers open up when they are not being looked at directly. Repair after every rupture. You will lose your temper. You will say something you regret. The single most powerful thing you can do is go back afterward and say plainly, I was harsh earlier. I am sorry. That is not how I want to talk to you. This does not weaken your authority. It teaches them that relationships survive conflict, and that apologizing is something strong people do. Most defiant teenagers have never seen an adult model this. Catch them being decent. When your whole relationship is correction, a teenager stops believing you see anything good in them, and a person who believes they are seen as bad will often decide to act the part. Notice the small things. The moment they were kind to a sibling. The effort, not just the result. Say it briefly and move on without turning it into a speech. Hold the boundary without the heat. I love you, and the answer is still no is a complete sentence. You do not have to out-argue them. You do not have to make them agree. Calm and immovable beats, loud and shaky every single time. Get your own support. Parenting a defiant teenager is genuinely lonely, and it can make you doubt everything about yourself. Talk to other parents who are honest, not the ones performing perfection. Talk to a counselor if you can. You cannot pour steadiness into your child if you have none left for yourself. The long game. There is something worth holding on to from old philosophical teaching about how change actually works. That growth happens slowly, one challenge at a time, and that the difficult periods are the forge in which a person is shaped, not a sign that something has gone wrong. Your teenager is being shaped right now. So are you. The friction is part of it, not a failure of it. Most defiant teenagers come back. Not next week, and not because you found the perfect technique. They come back because somewhere in the worst of it, they registered that you did not stop loving them, did not stop showing up, did not retaliate in kind. That registers even when they would rather die than admit it. The relationship you are protecting through gritted teeth right now is the one they will return to when the storm of these years finally passes. You have not failed. You are parenting the hardest stage there is, and the fact that you are awake tonight worrying about it is proof of how much you care. Keep showing up, keep the love visible, even when the warmth is hard to find. That steadiness is doing more than you can see. Be gentle with yourself tonight. Tomorrow is another chance, and so is the day after that. That's the wisdom for today. If something here landed for you, share it with one person who might need to hear it too. Take it slow. I'll see you tomorrow on Lotus Lane Daily.